Sometimes a single misdialed number can change everything. What started as a desperate plea for baby formula sent to the wrong person became the beginning of the most unexpected love story, one that would expose devastating lies, reveal the true meaning of family, and prove that miracles sometimes wear the most ordinary disguises. Standing in that grocery store aisle, clutching an empty wallet while my 8-month-old grandson cried in my arms, I never imagined that my moment of deepest desperation would become the first chapter of our salvation. My daughter Sarah had painted such a convincing picture when she left baby Connor with me 6 months ago. The story was flawless. Her husband Jake had received an incredible job offer with his tech company's London office, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that would set their family up for life. The temporary housing wasn't suitable for babies, she explained with tears in her eyes. Just until we get established, Mom. 3 months, maybe 4 at most. You understand, right? I understood the weight of an infant carrier cutting into my arthritic shoulders. I understood the burn of exhaustion from night feedings at 62 years old. I understood the choice between my heart medication and baby formula that came every month when my Social Security ran short. What I didn't understand was how completely I'd been deceived. The lies unraveled slowly at first, then all at once. Sarah's promised daily calls became weekly, then nothing. The financial support never materialized. When I finally reached her after weeks of trying, I could hear laughter and music in the background, the sounds of people living their best life while I scraped pennies together for diapers. That Tuesday evening in the formula aisle, Connor's hungry cries echoing off the store shelves, I made a decision that terrified me. I would ask for help. My neighbor, Mrs. Chun, had always been kind. Surely she would understand a grandmother's desperate need for $40. My arthritis-stiff fingers fumbled across the phone screen as I typed what felt like the most humiliating message of my life. Hi Mrs. Chun, I hate to ask, but I'm in a tight spot. Could I borrow $40 for baby formula? I'll pay you back Friday. I'm so sorry to bother you. The response came back immediately. You are a warrior, lady. Stay strong. I stared at the message, confused. Mrs. Chun had never called me lady before, and her English, while good, was usually more formal. Something felt off, but before I could process it, my banking app chimed with a notification that made my blood run cold. Deposit, $10,000. My hand shook so violently I nearly dropped Connor. $10,000. In my account, from someone whose number I apparently had wrong. The next morning brought the first package, an elegant box with expensive baby clothes, premium formula, and a handwritten note. Every warrior needs proper armor. Do not try to find me. Someone was watching me. Someone knew exactly what Connor needed. Knew my struggles, knew my desperation. The gifts kept coming: educational toys, organic food, a stroller that cost more than I made in 3 months. Each package carried the same beautiful handwriting. The same mysterious messages about warriors and strength. Fear crept in alongside gratitude. The expensive packages drew suspicious glances from neighbors who'd known me for 15 years as the quiet woman who worked 2 jobs and minded her own business. Mrs. Patterson whispered to her husband loud enough for me to hear. Where does she get money for all that fancy stuff? The young mothers at the park eyed Connor's $1,000 stroller with everything from envy to suspicion. When the black sedan started appearing outside my duplex, staying for hours with tinted windows that revealed nothing, I called the police. The officer looked around my modest living room filled with high-end baby gear, and barely contained his skepticism. Unless someone threatens you directly, there's not much we can do, he said with a chuckle. Maybe you've got a secret admirer. The photograph changed everything. It arrived in a small, elegant box, a silver locket containing a picture of Connor and me at the park that I'd never posed for. Someone had been close enough to capture an intimate moment between us without my knowledge. The note read, "Every warrior needs a talisman. You are not as alone as you think." When the text came requesting a meeting at Riverside Park, I almost ignored it. But living in fear was no way to raise Connor, and I needed answers more than I needed safety. The man who approached our bench that Thursday afternoon wasn't the dangerous stranger I'd imagined. Robert Mitchell was probably in his late 60s, wearing a simple cardigan and wire-rimmed glasses, the kind of grandfather you'd see at any playground. His eyes held a deep sadness that immediately made me lower my guard. "Please don't be afraid," he said, stopping several feet away. "I'm the one who's been sending the packages." The story he told was both heartbreaking and extraordinary. 3 years earlier, he'd lost his wife Margaret to a long battle with Alzheimer's. They'd spent their entire retirement savings on experimental treatments, anything that might give them more time. Margaret's final wish was for Robert to use their remaining money, a substantial inheritance from her family, to help families in need, but personally, directly, not through impersonal charities. "I created a system to intercept misdialed emergency calls," he explained, watching Connor toddle around our bench. "Most are wrong numbers for pizza places, but occasionally I catch something that matters. A single parent calling for help with rent, someone looking for work, a grandparent struggling to make ends meet. Your message about formula was exactly what Margaret hoped I'd find." I learned that Robert had investigated my situation thoroughly, too thoroughly. He knew about my 2 jobs, my arthritis medication costs, my daughter's lies. He'd even hired a private investigator to uncover the truth about Sarah's business opportunity in London. "Your daughter and her husband aren't extending their stay by choice," Robert said gently, handing me a thick envelope. "They never had a job in London. They're living off credit cards and borrowed money, staying in youth hostels while pretending to have a glamorous life on social media. They abandoned Connor not for a better opportunity, but because they couldn't handle being parents." The evidence was devastating. Credit card statements showing maxed out accounts. Hotel receipts revealing cheap accommodations despite Instagram posts suggesting luxury. Records of bounced checks, declined payments, mounting debt. Sarah hadn't left for a golden opportunity, she'd fled from responsibility, and caring for a baby didn't fit her fantasy of escaping consequences. That evening, when Sarah finally called asking for money to get through a rough patch, I was ready with the truth. "I know about the credit cards, Sarah. I know about the hostels, the debt, the lies about Jake's job. I know you've been posting pictures of expensive dinners, while I've been choosing between my medication and Connor's formula." For the first time in months, I heard my daughter speechless. "Here's what's going to happen," I continued, Robert's supportive presence giving me strength. "Either you come home and be Connor's mother, or you sign guardianship papers so I can make medical decisions and enroll him in daycare. You can't abandon him and still control his life from Europe." The legal process took 3 months. Sarah, faced with returning to face her debts or signing over temporary custody, chose to sign. She was not ready to be a real mother yet, she admitted in a tearful phone call that felt like the first honest conversation we'd had in years. Robert proposed on a quiet Thursday morning, while Connor played with blocks on our kitchen floor. "Margaret always said that when you find your family, you recognize it immediately," he said, placing a simple diamond ring beside my coffee cup. "I found mine. We married at the courthouse with Connor as our witness, the judge commenting that she'd never seen a happier family. 6 months later, the adoption papers came through, making us Connor's legal parents. At 16 months old, he was calling me Mama and Robert Papa, with no memory of the months of struggle and uncertainty. Sarah visited once after returning to the States, broke and humbled by her European adventure gone wrong. She held Connor awkwardly, like a stranger meeting a distant relative. "I think this is what's best for him," she admitted, watching him toddle confidently between Robert and me. "He deserves parents who put him first, and I wasn't ready to do that before. Maybe someday I will be, but right now I just want him to know I love him, even if I can't take care of him properly." The transformation in our lives still amazes me. My small duplex gave way to Robert's comfortable house with a backyard where Connor learned to walk, chasing butterflies and laughing with pure joy. The financial stress that had dominated every decision disappeared, replaced by the simple pleasure of being able to buy whatever Connor needed, without calculating the cost. Robert often marvels at how his wife's final wish brought us together. "Margaret used to say miracles aren't always dramatic," he tells me as we watch Connor build towers with his blocks. "Sometimes a miracle is just getting exactly what you need exactly when you need it, even if you didn't know you needed it." My neighbor Mrs. Chan, the woman I'd originally meant to text that desperate evening, stopped by last week with homemade soup. "I'm so happy for you and Connor," she said, smiling at the sound of laughter from our backyard. "Robert is a wonderful man, and you both deserve this joy." The whispers and suspicious glances from the early days have given way to genuine warmth from our community. People see what we are now, a family that found each other in the most unexpected way, proving that love doesn't always follow traditional paths. Sometimes the most beautiful love stories aren't about young passion or dramatic romance. Sometimes they're about two people who've lived long enough to understand what really matters, finding each other when life demands the most from them. Sometimes they're about learning that being a warrior doesn't mean fighting alone, it means being brave enough to accept help when it comes in forms you never expected. As I write this, Connor is napping in his crib upstairs while Robert tends his garden outside. In 2 weeks, he'll turn 2 years old, and we're planning a party with all our neighbors and friends. Sarah sent a card saying she hopes to visit for his birthday, and for the first time, I'm genuinely looking forward to her coming home. The locket Robert gave me hangs around my neck, holding that candid photograph of Connor and me at the park. Sometimes I trace the outline of our faces and remember that desperate woman in the grocery store who thought she was completely alone. She had no idea that help was just one wrong number away. If this story resonated with you, if you believe in the power of unexpected connections and second chances, I'd love for you to subscribe to hear more stories like this one. Sometimes the most ordinary moments become extraordinary when we share them with others who understand that life's greatest gifts often come disguised as our greatest challenges.